Hey there, I'm Jen Therian, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm a former 9-to-5er that dove into entrepreneurship 8 years ago with zero business experience. I'm a wife, mama of 2 young girls, boutique owner, jeweler designer, and now the proud owner and coach leading Goldilynx Permanent Jewelry. I have a passion to empower fellow business babes. This podcast is made to equip you with everything you need to succeed, from actionable marketing steps to digging deep on your mindset. I know firsthand the heart, hard work, and let's be real, at times a struggle that makes up this amazing journey. You want to know what has enabled me to shine the brightest? Coaching plus community. Here at Goldilynx, we share openly, educate, and lift each other up. Expect to get linked with fellow PJ owners that will do just that, sprinkled with plenty of fun along the way. Competition is an old school thought, and connection is the way. Get ready to feel inspired. Welcome to the Goldilynx podcast. I had the absolute pleasure of sitting down with Ashley Walker. She is amazing. I met her at a business/personal retreat last March. So it has been about 14 months, and this woman is just blowing it up with her real estate business. And I know you're thinking, real estate, what does that have to do with permanent jewelry? And really, there's so much. How she grew her following and how she grew her customer base, you can take so much from this. As you know, real estate is obviously pretty competitive and it's localized. And as permanent jewelry grows, it's also very localized. So I feel like you can take so much value from what Ashley has to offer today with our chat. You're going to want to follow her and see all these gorgeous homes in Franklin, Tennessee. You're going to be obsessed. Now I want to move there. Enjoy this episode. Hey, Ashley. I'm so excited you're here today. Let's just start off by you telling us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So I am a wife, mom of 2 little boys, and a real estate agent in the Nashville, Tennessee, Franklin, Tennessee area. And me and Jen met at Susie School almost exactly a year ago.
Yeah.
I think we were in Susie School a year ago today. Wasn't it like the third, fourth, and fifth or something like that? Okay. Anyways, basically we were in Susie School a year ago, and we connected just because we were like drawn to each other. And then we were both wives and moms, and like this hunger for business and entrepreneurial spirits. And since then I have grown a successful real estate business and coaching program out of I would say, birthed at Susie School.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit. We never really talk about that. Like, first of all, how long have you been a real estate agent?
6 years.
6 years. Okay. So you were in the game for 5 years. Why did you go to Susie School? Actually, let's talk about that. What was the appeal there?
Okay. So I went to Susie School because I was like, she is like the business god. I had like put so much pressure on her that she didn't even know about. I was like, she's the business god. I'm going to go to Susie School and it's just going to work. It's just going to start to work.
Yeah.
And when I got to Susie School, it was more a retreat for like our mental state. Like it was like a mindset retreat and like a health and wellness retreat. And I think some of us, you and I, were so business oriented. We were like, are we ever going to talk about business? And then whenever we got to the second day, we were like, fuck business. Let's get on the same energy. And Susie really brought this element to me of energy is everything. And so energetically, I think it quantum leaped me to just understand that if I have the proper energy in what I'm going into, I will conquer it. Right? Like it will happen. And so I actually have a sticky note on my desk and it says, hold the energy, because that's just such a saying that I love. And it's like, no matter what energy is going on around you, hold your energy, hold the energy that you want. And I don't know, that was my biggest takeaway from Susie School. It was like, I could learn all the business books. I could have all the encyclopedias. I could have all the sales pages, all the funnels, all the this, all that. But if my energy is off, my clients aren't even going to come to me because energetically, they're just not going to see me.
Well, yeah. And also just, I think people underestimate completely. Like we all think, again, it's these literal things that we need to learn, but really it's all about what we feel we're worthy of, what we feel we're capable of, what we want to bring value into the world. And so like in the end too, I didn't even know what to expect. I knew obviously Susie has this business space. So for me, I was like, okay, yeah, I feel like I'm ready to take my business to the next level. And I had just gotten into Goldilynx. I'm like, I'm so passionate about this. But then of course I was not expecting what happened at Susie School. But in the end, it was so necessary because I had to dig within those parts of myself of what's still holding me back. There's definitely something, and there's no way you can reach a level of business if you don't conquer those things in yourself.
100%. So like business is such a spiritual pursuit for me. And I think that that's why you and I would say we're both like optimistic, deep thinkers. We're very connected. Like we don't like small talk. It's get to like your childhood trauma. We want to use.
So true.
Yeah. And I think that's why we're drawn to business, because it's like, it's so spiritual for us. Like every time I have to dig a little deeper, go a little further, it's like a layer of my onion of my insecurities has to fall off. And I have to create connection through vulnerability, and I have to trial and error, and I have to learn more of me. Like what has taught me the most about myself are two things: motherhood and business.
Yes, completely.
And I'm right smack dab in the middle of them. And so I'm learning all the things about me, and it's making me love myself more, because I'm like, I am doing the hard work. I do want to be different than like the past generations and such. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And it doesn't mean going with parenthood and business actually is like difficult doesn't mean bad. And I feel like that's been a really hard lesson for me, because as being an entrepreneur, like it's not easy. But also too, what you said, it plays into like the spiritual and all the things. Like I feel like it's almost necessary to view business and deal business that way, because if you don't, you're chasing dollars, and that's not fulfilling. We know there's plenty of people out there that are millionaires and like freaking miserable, right? So as money does not have to equal happiness, as they say. Yes, it makes life easier, but really if there's no purpose behind that, or you're not like digging deep and like finding the meaning behind these things and your purpose and value, then you're not going to be happy. 100%. So that's amazing. So tell me, because we were talking a little bit about this before, do you remember like how many followers and what your business was like when you went to Susie School, like 1 year ago? What was it like?
Okay. So when I went to Susie School, I had a very hyper-focused thought that I was going to go down. And it was like, I had already been getting deals off my Instagram to some degree from people I didn't know following, like that started following me. But then also I was converting a lot of like I'd sold 10 million in production, and it was all from my Instagram. And so I knew that people socially bought with real estate, right? Like people would find a realtor on Instagram. I knew that worked, but I hadn't totally kicked into the growth aspect of it. The year before that, when I was pregnant with my second son, I knew I took that year to learn Instagram. And so here I am. I'm like, I've learned Instagram. I have a pretty good knowledge of everything. I'm starting to get traction, and I'm at Susie School. And so what I thought would happen was I was going to join this powerhouse team. I was going to get all these agents under me nationally. And then I was just going to like do my thing. Yep. And I had 1,500 followers when I went to Susie School, I think. Yeah. And I remember your boutique had 5,500. And I was just like, gosh, you were just like an idol of mine, in the sense of you've already on this growing journey, and you were just a step ahead of me. And so I left Susie School. I didn't feel like I got anything from my business. And that is the best thing that could have happened to me. Yeah. Because I feel like I was poured into me, and I was like, okay, this new soul, this new activated human is like ready to go. And so I kept doing what I said I was going to do. I didn't join Powerhouse. I'm now a part of it, but I joined it like almost a year after. But I went and I built, and I started getting leads off Instagram. And then I ended up targeting just specifically Franklin, Tennessee. And when I got really clear on who I was talking to, and when I really honed in on Instagram, is when my account blew up. And naturally, when my account blew up, I blew up with the agent following as well. So I was getting a ton of agents following me. They were all asking like, how are you doing this? And I worked through a little bit of worthiness, because I was just like, well, I'm going through it right now, but I'll help you. And so I made a digital product, and it was basically like Instagram for realtors. And I made this digital product. I put it on what's called Stay in Store. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. Yeah. And so I put it on Stay in Store. I ended up selling, I want to say it was like $10,000 the first week on a low ticket product. And so I was like, okay, people want to learn from me. This is a thing. And I ended up creating a second digital product that countered, like that went with my first. And then I was like, okay, I want to like actually get in people's lives. Like digital products are great, but I'm not talking to these people. It's super passive, which is great, but I want to dig in and get in businesses. So ended up going in like the building the course mode, built a course out in 6 to 8 weeks, hardcore. Wow. I know. I like woke up before my kids, hung out with my kids, or took them to daycare, or whatever that day looked like, because we don't have full-time daycare. And then after they would go to sleep, I would come back in my office and I would just power through. I ended up like losing like 15 pounds whenever I launched my course, because I just wasn't eating. Like
forget to eat.
I was just like, screw food. And then ended up launching that. So it's a course and a 12-week coaching container. Launched it in the end of December. I had 25 spots. I filled them all. And then that's just been so life-giving. So every single week I get to pour into these other agents across the country. And at the end of December, I decided to go to Powerhouse. So I just felt super aligned with it. I love like the founder, and I just love what they do. And so I was like, I want to go and I want to build a Powerhouse. So now I obviously want to work with agents inside of Insta Agent, but they can also be a part of my national team in Powerhouse.
Are you continuously going to offer this? Is it something where new people can be in the course? Like is it a live thing?
So the course is evergreen, meaning that like
Okay,
I created it and it just runs, but I don't sell it just by itself because I don't believe right now that's not what's good for realtors. Realtors are in the season of like burnout and they're in the season of loneliness and it's just a hard industry. And so I only sell it with my coaching.
Oh, cool. Perfect.
Yeah. And so it's 12 weeks long. I'm on week 8 or 9 with my current group. And so I'm relaunching our next round of Insta Agent right now. Yeah. And so you have from now until, which I think it's March 6th. So March 6th to, I cut it off on April 1st.
Okay.
And so this group is going to have 40 spots and I'm really excited. And then that group will be from April to June.
I talk about this all the time, but even going back to Susie's school, say we were to do that virtually or we just to meet each other on a Facebook group, like it would not be what it was. Like obviously in person is one thing, but also just having the like coaching and like the real time help and assistance is like priceless. Right. Because again, as we know, there's so many things you can take courses. You can go on YouTube and literally there's all this free information really. So what makes it special? Like I'm sure the information you're offering, I'm not saying it's not original, but also it's probably other places too. So is it a light bulb that went off when you were starting to put out content on Instagram and realize like who you were talking to? Like how did that transition?
So I want to say it was July. I went to the 2023 Southern Living Home in Franklin, Tennessee. And I told my husband, I was like, you're coming, we're getting content. That's what we're doing. He was like, okay, I'm down. And I left it and I was like, those are the houses I want to sell. And I kept telling him, I'm like, I can sell to anybody on Instagram, but I wasn't clear enough. I was lead generating in the Nashville area. And so I would get DMs and I would sell in Dixon. I would sell in Murfreesboro. I would have a house here and there off of Instagram. And I was just like, I'm driving around everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know there are people coming from Southern California, Northern California, New York, Florida, and they're wanting to move to Franklin.
Yeah.
Or anywhere in Nashville, but I'm going to focus on Franklin.
Yeah.
And so I knew that was the thing. And I was like, all I need is for the algorithm to train my algorithm enough to send those people. If I'm here or if Franklin's here and the people are here, I just need to meet the algorithm and like move them here. Mm-hmm. And I think the algorithm energetics are for any industry. And so I just started doubling down and I went to that house and I told my husband, I was like, I'm never going to post anything outside of Franklin and Brentwood ever again. And he was like, okay. And when I made the decision to go all in and bet on myself, and what I knew in my gut was what I needed to do because I had been like toying with it. Like I had been like, most of my content was in Franklin and Brentwood, but like I wasn't just going all in and I'm all in. It's all or nothing. And I blew up.
And I think that attests to like how you said, oh yeah, I didn't go to Susie's school for business, but it was the best thing. But really in the end, that only served your business in the best way. Because like you said, I think too, what served me the most is always going with my gut. And I have become really good at honing in with that. And that's always served me because if you didn't dig deep and go to Susie's school and kind of have that experience, maybe you might have, if you went to more of a business style retreat, you might know more of the number stuff and all the other stuff you get into with business, but not really honing in on what you really truly, what you want to feel, what you want to do.
I probably would have been like, if I went to a business Susie school, I probably would have been like, oh, Nashville's working for me. I'm getting leads. I need to stop being like, oh, I'm driving everywhere, blah, blah. But because I had been big on energy and I grow my energy knowledge, I'm like obsessed with the thought of energy and how it works. And so I was just like, my energy is here and my gut is pulling me here, like almost physically, like this is where I need to go explore. It's so funny. Like my husband will be like, what's your gut say? Like when I'm like, oh, I need to do something. I feel like there's something else. He's like, what's your gut saying?
Yeah.
It's always right. I'm like, that's because I'm a woman. And I think a lot of women, we don't lean into that. Like enough women don't lean into that. But it's you have a gut and you're a mom for a reason. And God gave you abilities that men just don't have. And now it's really cool to see this Instagram world that it's like all these women are capitalizing on their strengths and crushing it for their family.
It's amazing because I feel like I think the things that get to our head, because what comes to my mind when you say that too, and you basically niche down, like maybe your mind's telling you, like you said, oh, Nashville works, but Nashville is correct me if I'm wrong, but Nashville's pretty trendy right now.
It is.
I feel like everyone wants to be in Nashville, but it's like,
Because honestly, when you started posting about Franklin, Tennessee, I had no idea about Franklin, but of course I know Nashville. So I'm like, where's Franklin? And you're posting all these amazing homes. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I want to move there like now. But also too, it's you feel like you're leaving money on the table. Like that, I think that's why people, no matter what industry you're in, if you're niching down, everyone wants to appeal to everybody. Because in the end, yes, we're in business to make money, but it's like, if we just took that we took our minds out of it and we really just relied on our energy, like where that would lead us in life is amazing. Because I think our mind gets to us. Like even back when I was a massage therapist, I would tell myself, I make decent money. I no one's breathing down my neck. It's fine. It's a decent industry. But honestly, my gut was telling me I can't do this forever. I know it's not my creative. I know it's not what I'm meant to do. And if I had just gone with my mind, I'd still be doing that today and be miserable. You know what I mean? So like, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So I don't know. What do you have to say to people that are like scared to quote unquote niche down or?
I have this saying in my business, and it's like when you talk to everybody or try to talk to everybody, you actually talk to nobody. The only people I think that can do that are Pepsi and Coca-Cola.
So
because
true.
it's like literally Pepsi and Coca-Cola could appeal to everybody. And I'd say 95% of people drink at least one Coke a year. I hardly ever drink Coke. But I will drink Coke like on a Memorial Day when I go to a cookout and I have a hot dog or a hamburger, I'm drinking a Coke.
Yeah, we all know what that is.
And maybe 4th of July. Like I might drink like 4 Cokes a year, but I'm still in the category of I drink a Coke. And so Coke and Pepsi can get away with that, right? They're like this huge brand. Everybody else, you can't do it. And even Coke and Pepsi would tell you that they usually probably do most of their marketing to the teenager, the early like 20 kid, because that they're wanting their taste buds to grow with them. And they're wanting them to be lifelong customers. And so random analogy. But I'm just saying almost no business can not niche down. You're not going to talk to everybody. I used to try to be so vanilla with my content and like never get hate and all that kind of stuff. I've said it a zillion times on my Instagram, and it's so funny. People always love when I say it, but you can be the juiciest peach on the peach tree.
So true.
And some people don't like peaches.
It's so true.
It's just what it is. And I think that the pursuit of business and spirituality and all of this kind of stuff brings us to a place where we're like, we're not for everybody, and that's okay. It's a journey. If you're on this podcast, you're listening, you're like, I'm not there yet. You will be it one day. Jen and I have been probably on the same journey the last 5 years where we're leveling up, we're growing, we're having an altercation with somebody who doesn't like us. And then I'm getting cussed out by an agent who doesn't like me because I'm taking market share in her industry. And like all of these things are happening to me. And it's like, at the end of the day, I'm hated by people who don't want to support me. And that's okay because my business is going to thrive even if they don't support me. And I'm not for them.
This is what I always say. I feel like when it comes to someone not liking you and again, the bigger you get, the more hate you're going to get. That's just how it is. Okay. So we know that, but everyone's dealing with their own internal battles. And so we can't be fighting everyone's internal battles and trying to make everyone like us. Like you said, it's almost, if you took a group of people who hate peaches and trying to convince them to like peaches, they're never going to like peaches. It's just the way it is. But also as long as I'm checking with myself and being like, my intentions are pure, there's nothing else I can do. I can't make everyone like me, and it is what it is what I say. But it takes, like you said, it takes a while to get there. I have to say, there'd be times I'd be literally crying if someone said something wrong to diss my business or didn't agree with something or didn't like my prices. Like I would literally have been like, oh my God, I have to change my prices. Oh my God. Because it was just, it's like getting to that point where you really know yourself, know what value you want to bring, like going back to all that and checking in with your energy and really what feels good to you.
Oh, it's all about energy and it's all about this worthiness battle inside of ourselves. So it's, I'm firm on who I am. And do I have days when I wake up and I have another inbox from a hater of an agent who's trying to cuss me out? Yeah. And it brings me down. Yeah. But I have to check myself. I have to talk to my husband. I have to wiggle it out. I have to go and walk something energetically to get it gone. Because then I remember, like you said, my intentions are pure. I serve my clients so well, and I'm not a hateful person. Like somebody turned me into the Tennessee State of Real Estate Commission trying to get me in trouble. And they wrote all these things. And I wrote back a very detailed list of every single thing they said isn't true, how it is true. And it put me in a posture of, I have facts from my CRM database that all of this is true.
Yeah.
And I just cited it, and I sent links, and I sent screenshots of my CRM, and it put me in an energetic position where I'm like, I believe in myself more now because I have now gone through this with this specific thing. And I know I'm not lying.
Yes.
Because when people call you a liar for 6 months, you start to believe, am I freaking lying? If we can just put ourselves in that posture every single day, again, like if somebody doesn't like your pricing on your permanent jewelry, okay, the next person will. They're not your person.
Right.
They're not your
person. Exactly. But note to self, real estate sounds cutthroat. I don't know.
But I only think I'm going through that. A lot of my friends don't go through that. So I think it's just like I'm in a weird industry, a weird market. I don't know. But
again, you're like leveling up huge though. So what is your following now? We mentioned you were at 1,500 a year ago. Where are you now?
I am at 38,300. So almost 40.
Amazing. So where did you notice a big jump at one point? Did it you get to a certain level and then it just starts like adding? Were you, I guess I'm asking a bunch of questions at once, but were you putting out reels every day? Did you have a strategy or were you?
I left Susie school. I started 2023 because remember that 2022, I had been building on Instagram. It just, I was learning. There was no tools out there in 2021 and 2022 like there are now.
Yeah.
And so I was teaching myself. And so I was posting reels for Instagram, but I was pregnant with my second and it was just like, I was learning that year. And then last year, 2023, I was like, I'm going to post a reel a day for a year. Yeah. And I'm going to kick ass this year. So I had already been posting up into Susie's school because I had been posting for probably 2 months every single day. Prior to that, I probably would post once or twice a week. And then I would say summertime, I started to really, I want to say I was in July, I had 5,000 to 6,000 followers. And so I was starting to tick up on the radar. And then I had a couple reels take off, do really well for me. And I probably sat at about 17,000 around September. And then I've just been growing pretty steadily, but pretty rapidly over the last, for lack of better terms, 9 months. But when I left Susie School, those first 3 months, I was growing. It was just slower.
Yeah, I think it gets to a point where it's like, it's slow, but then once you get to a certain point, then it just blows. I don't know. I see that in other people's accounts too. Like it just goes from, it does take a while. And you're a prime example of like consistency pays off because you could have been, even if you were posting every day up into Susie School, that was a good almost 90 days of posting every day. And you're like, oh, wow, only, which not saying that's little. I'm just saying 1,500 is 1,500, but you're like, okay, like this isn't working. I'm just going to give up kind of thing. But you just kept at it. And then here you are at the end of the year.
You need the right followers too. So if you're a permanent jewelry girl, and you only have 1,500 followers, but a lot of them are small boutiques that want you to host pop-ups. They're really wealthy people who want to host pop-ups. They're cute coffee shops that want to do pop-up. And then they're like obviously just your clientele. Then 1,500 is way too many people to have because you're going to be booked out the butt for every single event you could ever do. And so I like to look at Instagram as long as we're getting the right following.
Definitely. What has to say that about like when I say the following, of course the number is impressive, but obviously it's like quality over quantity for sure. Right. There's plenty of people out there that have like hundreds of thousands of followers, but they're not monetizing that. They're not making anything from their following. So
I have a friend who is pretty famous in the real estate industry. She's on a show and everything. And like her page has so many more followers than me and it doesn't make her what mine makes me.
What do you think the difference is, in your opinion, of hers versus yours then?
I'm just super specific on who I call in. So every single one of my reels is either for somebody moving out of state to Franklin, Tennessee, or a real estate agent wanting to learn how to lead generate on Instagram.
Awesome.
But those are the only two people I want to call in. Now, do people follow me that aren't that? I'm sure, but that's who I want to call in.
Yeah, I definitely, of course, I follow you because I met you and love you, but also I love looking at these homes. It's like goals.
I think that people follow me for that. I think I'm known, okay, she's going to show some cool homes. This is a good follow. Yes. They might never convert for me. That's okay. Yeah. I think that a lot of people convert for me. So,
but even if I just started randomly following you, I feel like even if I wasn't ever intending to move to Franklin, but then I ran into someone who was, I'm like, oh my God, you have to follow Ashley. You would come to my mind because you're always popping up on my feed. Your stories, like you get to know you, like you feel like you like when you're watching. So it's like showing your family life and just like your thoughts and stuff. Like there's more to it than just showing pretty homes. You know what I mean?
You're in my brain almost a little bit.
What's that?
You feel like you're almost in my brain a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So definitely, again, going back to any industry, it's definitely the know and trust factor. We feel just watching you, I'm like, okay, this is And again, just for whatever reason, I am come to terms with, yeah, not everyone's going to like me. They might not like the sound of my voice. They might not like how I say things. They might not how I look, and that's okay. But
Right.
some people are going to watch you and be like, oh my God, I could just totally be friends with this girl. And that's,
Right.
no.
And those are my people, and that's who I'm calling out. And so like whenever I meet my out of state clients who don't know me from Adam, I go to every single home, like my first tour of the day, and I've never met them, and they always give me a hug. They're like, I know you. And they know me. They're like, okay,
Exactly.
she's been able to be vulnerable enough with me on certain aspects of her life that I feel like I'm going to get taken care of.
Yes. I love that. And you worked with your husband too, right? Doing real estate? Yeah.
We do. He day trades as well, but yeah, we do. We actually are onboarding another agent as well to take care of some of the day-to-day stuff that I just can't do with coaching as well. But we spoon feed our clients. Like we give 5-star service. So that will never go away from my brand. And to be able to continue to give that, I've got to have some more people in my bandwidth. I just can't do it all anymore.
Yeah, for sure. Outsourcing is the best and makes sense when it comes to that but also, so when you said spoon feed your clients, it made me think, because of course I know we're talking to permanent jewelers for the most part here. And it's like always, that's one thing I feel like I went into from having the boutique and going into permanent jewelry, because permanent jewelry is more face. You're same with you. Like you have to meet with your clients for the most part, right? You're like, you have to talk to them. It's not something they can just purchase online and you don't really even need to see them. So same with with permanent jewelry, you have to see someone, you have to sit down with them to obviously physically do it in person. But my thing has always been telling my Goldie girls, my girls that have Goldie Links businesses, I was like, treat everybody like they are whoever you're obsessed with, whether it be Taylor Swift, whether it be whoever it is for you, treat them like they are the person you want in front of you that you would die. Because I feel like treating that is the key too, obviously, in growing your business, how you treat people. Because I don't know, how does it work with real estate? Do you have a lot of like return people? Like yes?
People typically buy every 5 to 7 years if we put everybody on an equal playing field. And the real estate commission is larger. I don't need people to convert every year. That'd be cool, but I don't need that. We're working with people less frequently, but we're working with them in really pivotal times in their life. So they're calling us whenever they are needing a new house because they're bringing their third baby in, or they're having to get a 1-story house because they're having to bring their mom to live with them, or they're getting a divorce. Like we're getting people at a very pivotal time. And so the connection part is huge. And for me, I'm like an authentic person. It's just like who I am. I grew up extremely like religious, and it just didn't sit well with me in some aspects because I'm like, this is faking it till we make it. And I cannot be doing that. And so I have built this really authentic brand on my Instagram where I show up and some days I don't have makeup on. Some days I say a cuss word. Some days I'm just me. And so when people hire me, it's like, I don't have to be this stuffy real estate agent. Like I could literally come in my hokas and my pullover, whatever I needed to come to. I wouldn't, because I carry a level of service about me, but I could, because my people will be like, okay, I know she had to show up this way because this is what she needed to do today.
I love that. So I don't know if you don't have to share numbers, but what has been your just income? How has that scaled in this last year as well? Could you say you are 5 times what you were making in March last year? Could you say?
So in real estate, I closed a little over 10 million in production last year all together. We were in a very different market. I probably could have closed 20, but a lot of my deals fell through. That's just the name of the game.
Yeah.
We were up against 7.5 interest rates and everybody was freaking out. And so it was a weird year for me. But this year, with leveraging Instagram and growing as much as I've grown, I'm already at 10 million 60 days into the
Stop it. That's amazing. Yeah. So where do you see it going from here? Where's your passion leading you? Because now that you stepped into coaching, what do you see for your future?
I had a friend that is in real estate in Franklin too. She was like, oh, you're just going to be coaching me anytime now. Like you're going to stop selling houses. And I was like, I don't know. I think I still want to sell houses for a while, because I think that what my coaching clients love about me is I'm still in the field.
Yes.
And I'm still closing deals, and I'm still lead generating on Instagram, which is what they need me to teach them. I'm still up to date on that. Yeah. And I think that's a piece of my brand that I don't see changing for the foreseeable future. Like I said, we're hiring another agent. I can't do everything. So I'm going to offboard, but I still am lead generating. And that's what people want to learn. I think I'll be doing that for a while. And then I hired a new coach. She's amazing. And we're talking about where I'm leaving money on the table with coaching. And so what I'm building out now is I have Insta Agent, and it's 12 weeks, and everybody falls in love with coaching and training and teaching and being in that room, that energy every week. And so now I'm working on, I think I'm going to name it Insta Agent VIP, where it's more one-on-one hot seat coaching every single week, and it's a higher ticket item. So it would be a group of 15 people, and we're on the call every single week, and we pour into everybody's business. And so if you were a real estate agent in Colorado and somebody was a real estate agent in Idaho, you would be, every Monday we would talk, and you would get 10, 15 minutes and just your business pouring into you. So
that's amazing. I know it's nice because, like you said, that way selling homes, for example, it can be just something that if that fulfills you, like something you do, but you're not forced to do. I guess you can do it when you want to do it, kind of thing, right? I don't know. It feels a little bit more fluid. That's so cool.
Well, and I can take the clients that I'm really excited to work with, where any part before my career, I was like, anything I want, and now I get leads every day on my Instagram. I'm like, I just don't even have the bandwidth. Like, I can't even keep up. And our nanny, actually, I love her. She is getting her real estate license, and
oh my God,
we'll be helping. Yeah, I think we're going to transition our kids to part-time daycare at like an actual daycare. And she's going to be taking any lead I get off my Instagram and closing that. And so I'm still going to be lead generating on Instagram for everybody, but
that's
hopefully
amazing.
My hiring clients, I'll always take care of them. But the ones that I don't have the bandwidth for, there's going to be another agent who's super happy to help them and is super knowledgeable and has been trained by me. So
yes, perfect. So what is your one piece of advice that you would give to someone, again, being in a different industry of permanent jewelry, but say they wanted to really grow on Instagram, they really want to try and reach their specific, once they find out who that is, who they're specifically talking to, what would be your piece of advice for them?
I would say know your ideal client so well. So Jen, who's your ideal client?
My ideal client, again, I'm not going to go on a tangent. That's why I think that like permanent jewelry, I just want to say this really quick, because most people who are listening, they might think we all do the same thing, but you can say that for you too. Like, you're all selling homes, but it's like there is very much like different looks within each category. So I have a friend that I interviewed who is more into like the Western look, and she's into she has a ranch and like that whole look. And then I met someone else who sells these really fun earrings, and her brand is very colorful. And then myself being a permanent or a jewelry designer prior, like I definitely saw a lot of the removable like gold fill. Oh yeah, she's wearing yours. Yay! So yeah, but I definitely feel, because again, I do offer solid gold, but really my forte, I do have a ton of options, but I definitely feel like it's the woman who wants something quality but doesn't need solid gold. We're talking anywhere from like the age of 25. I hate to put ages on stuff, honestly. But we're talking about that person, again, also too, a young mom or some very busy individual. That's why it's so perfect for Colorado. I feel like people are out all the time. They're busy and they just want something on all the time and not worry about it, not worry about taking it off when you're working out, when you're showering, it doesn't tarnish. But so having that look of even the beaded removables, not only permanent jewelry, but someone who, again, wants to put something on and they're okay with having the same thing on for like months.
Right. And they're probably located near where you live, and they probably have a decent exposable income where they're going to come to you and they're going to have $100 to drop on one of these. Yes. And they're not going to bat an eye. Definitely. So what I would say to the girl that's like, where do I go on Instagram? That's who you talk to. So maybe you showcase like some of your jewelry, and you do a reel and you say something about your pop-up you live in Golden, right?
Castle Rock. So
Castle
just
Rock.
at the Denver. Yep.
Okay. You would say something like, my permanent jewelry in Castle Rock, my permanent jewelry pop up in Castle Rock, and like you show some of your product or something like that. Getting super specific so that when somebody's, oh, I'm in Castle Rock and I kind of wanting permanent jewelry. Okay, I need to go to this pop up, and then they save the reel and they come back to it, and now they show up at your pop up, and now it's your reel made you $100 and something.
I love that. And also just like leaning into, like you said, that specific person, because even the people I just listed, like the woman who has a business that's more, again, that Western kind of ranch rodeo style, rather than showing basic stuff, she could really like tap into that, where she's like
Right.
doing these specific designs that literally, if it were me scrolling, because that's not my style, I would scroll right by. But that
But
specific
you're not her
person,
ideal client. So it's like you
right?
can scroll all day long and like the
Mhm.
blue turquoise and like the
Yes,
Grand Canyon vibe. And
totally.
that's not totally my vibe, but it's enough of my vibe where I'm like, I'd buy that. And
Yeah,
I'd wear it on like certain occasions. Like I'm wearing like a white linen right now and it would go perfect with it. It would be like
yes,
a statement piece. And
for
so,
sure.
yeah, I would say to the girl that you're telling me to talk to, I would just say get so clear on your messaging and show up for
Mhm.
that person for a year on your Instagram before you get defeated. I think a
Yeah,
lot of people, when it's not converting in 2 months, they give up. It's no, this is the long haul. This is going to be your business for the foreseeable future. Like
yeah.
pour into it, show up for it every single day for a year.
And
And
do
then
you feel
literally
like,
you'll be the biggest permanent jewelry person in your area. You'll be so big that you'll have to hire your people under you.
yeah, do you feel like, because this is how I always feel, at least. Maybe it's different in your position, but do you feel like the person you're talking to is a version of yourself?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I think so because I want to work with people who are going to love me and
I love me.
I can't stand some parts about me, but I do also love me a lot. If I was flying into Franklin and buying a multi-million dollar house, I would work with
Yes.
me.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know
Yeah.
exactly what I want. I'm very to the point. I don't want you to waste my time.
Mhm.
I want the prettiest house on the best lot and for the best price, and that's it.
Yeah. Because I always feel that way. Because honestly, of course, the things I even create and doing is, especially with permanent jewelry, like what you lean into and what you niche down to is obviously what you love. So you have to, it's sometimes hard to think outside of, because when you're in the jar, you can't see the label kind of thing. It's like confusing. It's how do I talk to that person? When really we are pretty much that person. But just for you, how do you feel like you honed in on what that person wants to see of somebody looking for homes in Franklin?
So my person is a little bougie, and so I
Mhm.
started going to the nicer restaurants. Me and my husband have always liked the finer things in life, so it's easy. It's a version of myself. So it's just a version of me. I want to go to like the local shops, the boutiques, the downtown Franklin that they're going to go to. I'm going to go to the restaurants and the bars they're going to go to. I'm going to go do home tours in the city and the town that they're going to live in at the price point.
I
So I'm
love
going to be where they want to be. So when they fly in, they're like, so I have a flying into Franklin guide where it tells you where to eat, where to stay, where to go for walks and do fun things, the vineyards, the golf courses. Like it shows you everything you need to know
Mhm.
because I have such a one ideal client that they're going to find all of this useful. And when I
Yes.
send it to them before they fly in, they're always like, okay, we did everything on your guide and we loved it. I'm like, okay, because
That's
you,
amazing. And again, just one more way you're serving your
right,
customers.
right.
I love that. So when you did say earlier, last thing, I know you have to wrap it up, but like training the algorithm, that kind of stood out to me. So how can you train the algorithm?
I will say I have a guide. It's $67. It's amazing.
Nice.
And it's train your algorithm. You can buy it. You don't have to buy it, whatever you want to do. But it teaches, that's for all your girls that are watching.
Yes.
It teaches you how to train an algorithm. I think the best thing to train an algorithm is consistency in your messaging and in your city and in your words. So I
Mhm.
think a lot of people are not tapping into the potential of Instagram. And I think you will see this over the next 5 years. People will be saying in any industry, price point and city name. So if somebody wants to sell more permanent jewelry in Franklin, Tennessee, they
Mhm.
need to have like just reels out the butt of videos being like permanent jewelry on girls' arms at events and just all
Mhm.
the kind of glam that permanent jewelry comes with. You want to show if you're doing rings now or necklaces at like an event, like do a little video of a girl with her necklace, show your product.
Yeah.
And then over on the text, you'll say, like the spangled, whatever you call it, the spangled necklace in gold in Franklin, Tennessee with the permanent jewelry company name or whatever, or come to my next permanent jewelry pop up in Franklin, Tennessee, right? Like you're going to say Franklin,
Mhm.
Tennessee, permanent jewelry so much that you
Okay.
start getting in the algorithm of your ideal client because your ideal client is a girl who's on Instagram.
Yes. So is it going to be that text, say you make a reel? Is it going to be that text on a reel and your caption?
Yeah,
Or
your caption needs to provide value. So you need to talk about, let's just do one post. Let's do a reel where you say, come hang out with me in my next permanent jewelry pop up in Franklin, Tennessee. That's your
Mhm.
text on reel. You've got a
Okay.
cool video in the background. And then
Mhm.
your caption is going to say the time, the location, what you're offering that day. You could do pricing if
Yeah.
you wanted to. That's just for that one reel. And then every time you have a pop up, do 2 or 3 reels about that certain pop up and start getting hype around it.
Love it.
And I think if you did that for long enough, you'd have so many people at your pop ups that you'd have to bring somebody else with you.
For reels versus static posts. I actually always see a reel. So I'm trying to think, do you ever have like static posts or carousels?
I do
Is that
carousels
maybe-
and static posts. I just don't do them as much as I should,
Yeah.
but it's hard to do it all. I think
No, that's okay. I was just questioning whether or not that's because that's just more for the algorithm and also too what's being seen more is
yeah, so I think you could do good posts about like your product and your pictures, and
Mhm.
those go to your current followers. So reels
Yes,
are for new eyes. We want to
right,
post reels for new eyes, and then
right.
our posts go to our followers. So you get a new
Mhm.
follower from that pop up you did. You obviously need to have your QR codes. You need to give everybody like $5 or $10 off if they follow you,
Mhm.
because a follow is worth that $5 or $10 off. Trust
Yeah.
me, because you don't know if that follower is going to have a party of 100 girls next
Mhm.
month, and she wants you there for 3 hours, but she's going to give you 30 grand to do 10 grand to do the 100 girls. And so I would build that way in person. And then also you're going to want to capture them once they've come to your pop-up and found you on a reel. You're going to want to show them your product in your posts.
Yes. That's a
And
good
your
point. I love
captions
that.
can be a journal of your business. So like you can do salesy captions. Hey, meet me at this pop-up, blah, blah, blah. You can do, I had a bad day. Here's what happened.
Yeah.
My dog threw up on the couch. My 3-year-old, blah, blah, blah. But I'm still going to show up for y'all. I'm super excited about this, blah, 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 blah.
No, that's a good point because now that you say that, and I guess I don't really put thought into it. You just, when you're on social scrolling, that's really how I find anyone new is reels. And I guess, yeah, at this point, you don't really find, unless you like someone tags somebody and that's how you find someone and just go
Right.
to their profile. But if you find them that way, I think I love seeing reels because again, it just humanizes a person too. Like video is just king, I think, in every way. I know there's points where like Instagram's like pushing more carousel or they're doing this, but I think video is always going to be king.
Well, and if you stay the course long enough, like Instagram is saying this year they're pushing posts and carousel posts more,
Yeah,
but they're still going to post your reel if it's going good and it's getting shares and saves.
totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Oh my gosh. Well, so fun to chat with you. Is there, I don't know, anything else you want to share? Any advice you have for someone who's just wanting to grow their business and grow it by 38,000 people in the next year?
Buckle up.
Right.
I'm just kidding. Stay the course, and if you get any hate, just know that it is usually a reflection of them and not you. So
Love it.
continue, have people in your corner that you can call and you can be like, the whole world hates me. And they really don't. They're just either jealous or don't understand how you're building. And when you're a permanent jewelry girl with Jen and Goldie Links, there's other permanent jewelry companies out there in your
Really?
city. And if
Yes.
you start crushing it, the others will see. So
Mhm.
I could see some girls getting some hate in your circle for blowing up on Instagram in the next couple of years. And they're just going to have to get thick skin. And the cool thing about permanent jewelry is like the more sought after you get, the more your prices are. And now you're the luxury oldie girl.
Yeah, just falling into what feels right to you. But really with talking about that though, with like even local real estate agents, this is why I always feel about like collaboration and just kind of community over competition, that whole thing. Because it's for me, it's if someone were to be hating on you or you had a real estate agent that you guys honestly, yes, they're your competition, but if they were cool with you and say they were in a different part of Tennessee and you like knew them and you guys have collabed, or I shouldn't say collabed because I guess real estate agents don't do that, but you've connected, you would be more apt to send someone that way to them versus, right? I don't know if you guys ever do that, but I just feel like
we do. We're very referral based. And I don't mean to say this whole podcast about, oh, I'm getting hate. I just mean to say
I
like
know.
it comes with the territory, and usually it means you're building the right way.
Yes.
And it just comes with the territory.
No, agreed. But I just think when talking about the whole hate thing, and I guess I just see it as you're doing yourself a disservice is what I'm trying to say to you, right?
Yeah.
Because even if again, envy and jealousy can tell us a lot about us, and obviously it's all about us, and we can deal with it in all these different ways.
Right.
And most likely, of course, it's where they have something that we want, whether it be the level of success, whether it be the level of confidence, all the things.
Right.
But if they were to reach out to you and befriend you, it's almost that would benefit them more than trying.
Because I'd be like, come over under my wing. I'll show you everything I know about Instagram.
True. Or again, yeah, just like having that good where it's like if you ever had a thought of someone else that you could refer to someone, they're going to be somebody who you do versus if they are trying to submit you to the board of whatever you.
That's not the answer, but whatever, we'll go with it.
Okay.
So fun. I'm so glad you had me on here.
I know, this was really fun. It was good to see you. Okay. I can't wait. You're kicking butt. I'm so excited to see you on there. Tell everybody where we can find you on Instagram and all the places.
You can find me on Instagram at Hey Ashley Walker. I'm not really anywhere else.
Okay.
honestly.
I know. I was going to say, do you ever think about trying TikTok?
I think I'll go to YouTube before I go to TikTok.
Really?
Because
Okay.
YouTube is more for realtors. Like I'm going to
Okay.
be able to show them the city better. I'm actually hiring another VA to help me with, and what am I trying to say? Pinterest, because I think Pinterest is back. And so I think it could be a cool thing to show Pinterest or Franklin on Pinterest because it would perform pretty well. So I'm trying to get all that. But Instagram's working so well for me that I haven't poured much into anything else because I'm like, it's my thing and it's working and I'm just
and that's what matters. I think a lot of people feel like feeling like they need to be everywhere.
Like I could be a half-ass agent on 5 platforms, sure, or I could be a really good one on one, and that's what I decided to do. Yeah.
Exactly. You're doing it. So going with your gut. I love it.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great.
Well, how do you feel? I hope this episode inspired you in some way. I would love to hear from you. So visit me on Instagram at Goldie Links Jewelry or at my website at goldie-links.com. I'm always down to chat. Have a golden day, and I'll see you next time.